streaming and live channel and all of that. Trust me, I miss this zone like a lot. My name is Daki. I want to say big thank you to you guys for doing what you do. We love you guys so much. Thank you for your time, consistency, and energy. We're saying massive one. You guys are the real MVP. Trust me, we do this for you guys. Collect them. Anyways, guys, this is buzzing. We have a lot in the news. Burna Boy sold out in Belgium, and then he showed receipt to prove that yes, I sold out. This is not just mouth saying, but then Burna Boy did it, and that's why I'm called the ODG, the Odogo at the time. I want to say a big thanks to our fans out there for doing what you do. We love you guys. We appreciate you. You guys are the real MVP. You can now stream us live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at the time. Please come through because we are waiting for you in those spaces. We want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance to you guys. You guys should do yourself a very, very good Merry Christmas in advance. Anyways, let's delve straight into what the news look like. We'll begin with Burna Boy. We saw Burna Boy for my aunt official video with Ed Sheeran have just surpassed 130 million views on YouTube at the time, and that's an amazing one coming from Burna Boy and the team. Moving on, we saw Burna Boy was live at Antwerp, Belgium, just over the weekend, just yesterday, basically, where he went there, sold out massively at the time. Trust me, being in this space, it just shows that it is doing something amazing at the time. It was at Antwerp in Belgium. Obviously, tickets were sold massively. And they made this post about some hours of the event, and we could see where people came out in numbers to advise Burna Boy at the time. People were saying, "Come get a ticket, come get a ticket." It was just a moment to allow people buy tickets at the time. But little did they know that if you didn't get it that time, you were never going to get it again, because just after minutes from now, after I made this announcement, tickets were sold out for the Belgium space. And like I said, it was at the Sports Palace and Antwerp in Belgium, where when they applied the trade, and obviously people got tickets in numbers at the time. Moving on from this one, we saw what the venue looked like. Okay, we saw where the proof that people that wanted to get tickets at about 8 p.m. yesterday, they could no longer get tickets because obviously it was a sold out venue at the time. And massive to Burna Boy for doing all of this. We saw what the venue looked like. It was filled up to the brim. Trust me, Burna Boy is the only one who has the capacity to go to a place like this and storm the place and obviously sell the place out. Massive one to him and big congrats to Burna Boy for doing all of this and more. Moving on, just after that performance, we saw where his numbers were growing higher on the Belgium Apple Music number. We saw for the Belgium Apple Music top album, we saw Burna Boy, I told them, currently sitting at number 32. Surprisingly, we have someone like Fali Pupa who is doing good numbers, but then Burna Boy currently sits at number 32. It went up about 54 position upward, and that was a massive leap of growth for Burna Boy. The irony of all of this is the fact that when your numbers start growing like this, you just expect that people will start resonating with your numbers and all of that. It just shows that you are doing something good at the time, talking about Burna Boy and the team. Moving on, we saw Burna Boy live. And talking about Taliban's, the song by Remesia, it made a debut at number one on Barbados iTunes top song. And for him, that is the fourth number one iTunes. That's the fourth iTunes number one for the song. Surprisingly, Taliban's is doing good number. Now, this album has given us a projection because at the point, City Boy was number one, and then moving on, we saw Tested, Approved, Trusted doing good numbers. Now, Taliban's is picking up. It just shows Burna Boy did something timeless on I Told Them. Moving on, we saw Bayern Leverkusen and football player Florian Wirtz. And on IG, we saw where he posted video with his friends and where they were doing the tested, approved, and trusted thingy. Amazing one for these guys. Yesterday, we saw where players like Sebastian Haller and some Borussia Dortmund players came out to support Burna Boy at the Germany tour he had. And trust me, they came out in the numbers to support him, had pictures with him, posted on their pages, and that showed this is what people do to the likes of Chris Brown, Beyonce, Jay-Z, and the likes. But now we're seeing it happening with people like Burna Boy, Whiskey, Davido, Rema at the time. That's a massive growth. I would say congrats to them for this one. Moving on, we saw Burna Boy City Boy has spent his 15th week on the France official singles chart, and for this week, it sits at number 163. At the same time, I Told Them spent his 15th week on France official album chart, and it sits at number 200 for this week. Moving on, we saw for the Billboard World Album, Burna Boy, I told them, currently sit at number 9, having spent 15 weeks on the chart. Big one to Burna Boy for doing us proud, even in the US. Moving on, we have another Odogu in the building. Talking about Davido, one of the best we have so far. Amazingly, he's had the best year for the year in view 2023. We saw the concert in Asaba is going to happen today, basically, and then we're seeing all road and route leads to Asaba for the Davido Timeless tour in Asaba at the time. Recall that some months ago, Davido fell out with Amaju Pinnick at the concert where Amaju Pinnick said there will no longer be a Davido performance in Warri at the time, but this time Davido is going back to Delta State in Asaba at the time to go there, and this is Davido there in Amaju Pinnick, and he's doing the tour there in Asaba. Let us see if that will eventually hold or something. Or maybe Amaju Pinnick will put out his feathers to say, no, you cannot do a show in my city. Let's wait and see what this one looks like. But then massive on David and the team for putting out a massive one like this in Asaba. Moving on, we saw Davido, Kanti, and Fave rise to number 37 on this week US Afrobeat song chart. It became one of the biggest gainer on the chart for this week. At the same time, we saw Chris Brown's Sensational with Davido and Lil J remains on the Billboard bubbling on the Hot 100 chart for a fifth week at number 20, and it went about one pot upward, and that's a very big one to Chris Brown, Davido, and Lil J at the time. Recall that Lil J came through with Arizona with Olamide, and that song is doing good numbers even on the Billboard charts. Moving on, we saw for the Spotify updates, Davido's album, Timeless album, became the top album for the year 2023 in Nigeria. The chart includes Davido Timeless number 1, Walk of Art number 2, Boy Alone number 3, Ezioku number 4, and Burna Boy, I told them, sit at number 5. And while for the African Eats Best Afrobeat Song, we have Unavailable as number 1, we have Nike as number 2, we have Basket at number 3, we have Social number 4, and we have Single Again at number 5 by Harmonize. Moving on, we saw Ozuna Eva Longoria with Davido eat a milestone of 20 weeks on the Spain official radio chart at 25 for this week. At the same time, we saw the song Eva Longoria with Davido having spent 19 weeks on the Spain official singles chart and currently sits at number 82 for this week, became eligible for 2 platinum in Spain. Moving on, we have Rema as the next guy on the news. The young king who is doing good for himself and making sure Afrobeat is becoming global. At the time, we saw where for this week Billboard in the US Afrobeat chart, Calm Down remains at number 2, having picked number 1 for 58 weeks and has spent about 90 weeks on the chart. D&D is at number 23, having spent 6 weeks on the chart, and Troublemaker sit at 47, having spent about 6 weeks on the chart. Victoni and Rema Soweto with Don Toliver have just surpassed 85 million streams on Spotify. And at the same time, we saw Rema and Gomez Calm Down become the longest charting song in the history of the Billboard US Afrobeat song chart, spending 90 weeks consecutively. And now this is the big thing about it. After 90 weeks, the song is still at number 2. It just shows that we're on a very long road for about 180 weeks because this song is currently doing good numbers as we speak. Moving on, we saw Rema and Gomez Calm Down ties Binding Lights as the third longest running song in the top 10 of the Billboard Pop Airplay charts after 29 weeks at the time. Big one for to Rema for going head-to-head against big songs at the time. Song we should look up to, but then Rema is going head-to-head against the song and obviously coming out the bigger and the stronger one on the charts. Moving on, we saw Rema, Rave and Roses rises to number 8 on this week Billboard World Album chart, having spent 71 weeks on the chart. It peaked at number 2, but then for this week, it rises to number 8 on the Billboard album charts. Moving on, we saw Rema Calm Down remains number 2 on this week Billboard World Digital Song Sales chart, having spent 72 weeks on the chart. Calm Down became, or is the third longest charting number 1 song on the chart with 32 weeks record, and that's a big one to Rema for doing good in the US. Rema Calm Down and its project Rave and Roses has both spent 88 weeks on the France official Snap chart, and that's a massive one indeed. Rema is a global star and the country. We saw Bianca coming out to show that she has been obsessed and addicted to Wizkid's songs, especially Joro at the time. And then she said she came out to, she was singing the song with a serenious voice, trust me, impeccable voice. The Bianca was doing the Joro song, and for a moment you probably cannot picture it that she was doing the Joro song because the riff run and all of that was amazing. But then it's good to see that Wizkid influences artists both in the country and outside the country with his timeless and amazing songs he has done in the past. My name is Daki, guys. We'll catch you guys on the very next one. Please stay tuned. We're back again with all the other amazing news in world of music, especially Afrobeat and the guys that makes it beat. I'll catch you guys on the very next one. Please take care of yourself.